Below one's Forest focus as Nottingham Forest sit just outside the Premier League relegation zone on goal difference, a point in the bank against Fulham as they came agonisingly close to win, but it's now 1 win in 7 Premier League games and 1 goal at home in the last 4 in the league. So a massive week ahead with Spurs up next, as well as Midtjylland. Is it hard to keep believing for players and fans, or are there better signs that things are going to turn soon? Joining me to give their view, great to welcome Greg Mitchell. Greg, a lunchtime treat. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. Yeah, I'm very good. We're out the relegation zone. That's all we could have asked for at the end of this weekend.
Good. Well, I've already said to both of you, you're going to need to energise me and not lift my spirits, but maybe make me feel a bit better, which is lifting my spirits, I guess. But I'll explain why. Franz Carr, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thanks, Matt. Always nice to come on.
Good to have you with us.
My opinion.
Well, I look forward to hearing it. In fact, kick us off, Franz. What did you, just on the game itself yesterday, before we branch out, what did you make of it?
Pretty much the same as every week at the City Ground. You know, we flatter to deceive, don't we? When we actually have the chances to win games, we can't kill people off. And it's the same old story, isn't it? The same old positions, the same what we're doing and missing shots. And we need a goal scorer. I think if you just look at the game, the last few games, we do need a goal scorer. Someone's just going to put the ball in the goal, and then we can sit here and have a chat and have a laugh and whatever. But at the moment, there's not much wrong apart from that final third.
I tell you why, Greg. I need you to lift me, and it's not because the players aren't trying or anything like that. I really feel like they are. It was just so deflating when that goal wasn't given yesterday. Like, I felt the wind go out of my sails. I think it happened to the crowd. I think fair play to the players. They kept going and got a point. But maybe I'm tired just from doing this every day. But to keep going and keep going and keep going, and now we've got these big 8 games to come. Tell me why we're going to stay up, because you obviously believe we are.
I'm not in it to lift your spirits, unfortunately.
Well, lift the audience spirits, because there's a few who feel the same. I can see mixed views in the chat.
I mean, that disallowed goal, it was just ridiculous, wasn't it? Talk about the modern game, how it is. And yeah, it was offside, but come on. That's why VAR's not the thing for me. But the Awoniyi shot, the penalty that was offside, we're creating more chances now. If this was an 8-game season, which it is now, I'm confident we're going to, after those 8 games, not be in the bottom 3. I think Sunday's obviously huge. It was critical that we didn't go into that game, with Spurs a good few points in front of us. Everything is as it was at the start of the weekend. So I just think it looks like they really want it. We're going to get players coming back. Chris Wood's not going to be that far away now. And he's critical. We know it's critical because, unfortunately, Jesus hasn't shown he can get the goals we need in the Premier League, and other players are having to step up and take more chances. But get Wood back, get that win next weekend, which I absolutely believe we can. Spurs had their game of the season yesterday by somehow getting that point at Anfield, but the whole weekend was about some strange results, wasn't it? So we can certainly go down there and get something.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that and how we view other games. Liverpool wound me up yesterday. As soon as I saw the team, they wound me up. Partly like Captain Ekatike and FPL, but mostly because I thought that they weren't taking the game seriously enough. It's hard being a fan sometimes, Franz. I know Greg's very upbeat. We'd like 2 inches away, whether it's Ndoye's boot or Awoniyi off the bar from sat here, and we're feeling right. Everything's turned. We're going to go to Spurs. We're going to win, and we're all optimistic. And maybe if one of those goals goes in, I think we probably go on and win the game. But now we're sat here, and I'm sure the players were down after the game because, like I said, well, do you think they are giving their all? Because I do think they are, but you might disagree. And secondly, from a player's point of view, is it hard for them to keep motivating themselves, to keep going when the chips are down? Or is that literally just that's their job and it's part of being a professional footballer?
No, I think it's part of being a professional footballer. When you look at it, I mean, we obviously we're on these shows talking about the games, about Forest, where we are, 23 years of not being in the Premier League. You look at Europe, you're looking at the Premier League with the players we've got as well. So realistically, you're living the dream, aren't you? So to actually put that red shirt on every week, especially at the home games, because the Forest crowds is unbelievable. I think we probably need a little bit more from the crowd just to lift them a bit more, because they are slightly down, the players, and I think sometimes it goes quiet. because of the expectations. Because remember, I think we've been in free fall since towards the end of last season. Leicester game was a pivotal point for me. Obviously, with being in third position, I think we overachieved. But I think sometimes when you get in them sort of positions, then you ride the crest of a wave, don't you? You stay on the highs, and with the club history, it takes you forward. So I just think sometimes we overachieved last season, but at the same time, this season, we've played so many games where if you look at the 3 points we could have had, I've always said we should be in the top 10 of the division, because certain games we've just thrown away because we haven't had that goal, the goal threats. I think, I'm doing a bit of your stats as well now, Matt, where it's like 88 shots in the last 4 games at home. If you can't convert any of them chances, then where are you going to find yourself? You find yourself down the bottom. So I still think we'll get out of it. I just think we maybe have to tinker a little bit, with Taiwo, and maybe give Igor, a rest. I don't know, but that's down to the new manager, because when you look at the 4 we've had in managers, is there any change? Is it the manager's fault, or is it the players? It's got to be the players, hasn't it? Because they have got a tune out of him sometimes, but it's just not been enough, has it? So I'm positive that we'll stay up. There's more than enough to stay in there, and then we don't want to look towards next season to see what's going to happen. And I think Europe is important. People say, well, rest players and whatever, but the 2 games a week is giving the coach more of an idea of what players are going to perform for him. Because when you've got 1 game a week, you haven't got much. You can work on the training pitch, but it's the games that get you through. You can, it doesn't lie, does it? The fans can see, everybody else can see what's going on. And yesterday's game was similar when players have come on, who can actually change it for us, because you're getting pretty much the same, aren't you? You could have put a blanket over the side for the last few games and more or less give out the same scores, the same numbers, because there's nobody really outstanding. But yet we're probably sevens out of 10s every week, aren't we? Which is good, but you need that icing on the cake with that goal scorer. And I don't know where they're going to come from at the moment, the goals. And that's the problem we've got. That's the only problem we've got, I think.
Yeah, we'll talk more about Jesus versus Awoniyi, certainly, and Midtjylland before we go along. Just picking up on the point that Franz made about the crowd, Greg. I was in the pub beforehand. It was quite quiet. I think there was a lot of nerves around. In the ground, it felt like there were a lot of nerves around. We can't tell the crowd what to do, because I'm the same. I'm sat there just dreading every moment, thinking of Fulham going to score. But I don't know, do you detect that anxiety in the crowd as well when you're there?
Yeah, but that's always there with Forest. And you wouldn't believe the amount of times I get asked about the atmosphere and things should improve. And I think, well, you're sat there as well. Like it takes all of us to do stuff like this. I was lucky enough to speak to some players directly the other week, and they understand that it's their job to lift that crowd, but also they were saying how it's noticeable, like at 30 minutes, at 60 minutes now, how quiet the place can go. So, yesterday I was like a madman trying to wave some flags and get it going a bit, and I think people did do that. I think the scarves looked great and made a bit of an impact. So the club realise it as well. They clearly think they need this crowd like they've had it in previous seasons. You could think so many memorable games where the crowd have absolutely carried them just over the line. And I think that would have helped them yesterday. It was another clean sheet yesterday, and people in the comments talking about, Spurs looking like they've got some fight in them. Well, what do you think Forest were like against Man City away? You talk about fight. That was absolutely brilliant. And we showed it again yesterday. The clean sheets are critical, and then we'll get some chances at the other end. It is coming. It's hard in our position. It really is, because it's dire straits when you look at the table and the form and all that, but we're close. It's not going to take a lot to get those couple of wins we need, and, just enjoy those last few games so we can all live in hope.
Yeah, the other reason it's hard, Franz, is the other teams. Normally relegation battles actually aren't 3 teams are cut off and you can relax after 34 games. Historically, it's always been like this, but Forest, we haven't experienced that so much recently, certainly not when Luton went down. But this season, you look at West Ham, they are clearly better than they were. I'm not sold on Spurs. I know they got a point yesterday, but I feel like they could go again at any time. now, but they will get players back from injury, and I do think they'll still probably change manager over the international break. And then Leeds keep getting points. They're not winning. They've only won 2 in 12, but they do have their heads above water. So there's no obvious case to say that team's going down. I think if a neutral looked at the moment, if they were picking one of the 4 teams, I think a lot would say Forest because we're not scoring. So if not us, then who? I mean, is the more general question, Franz?
Listen, they're all in it. They're all in it. They're all together, aren't we? You've just got to concentrate on your own games and get the 3 points. And then, because if you're looking over your shoulder or looking above at Leeds, I mean, Leeds, I think they're in free fall a little bit. I think they've just blew a gasket a little bit, because when you think the last few weeks, the way they've played, it's been like 110%, 100 mile an hour. And I just think they've took the gas off the pedal a little bit. We've been running smoothly. You were watching the games every week, and we're thinking, we're quite good. And then we get to that final third, and like I said, with the shots we've had, surely if we can convert some of them goals, we're in a different position, because we're not playing bad. But I think, like I said, with the crowd being complacent, because we've hit the heights and played well, the expectancy that we're going to win games. And that's why I always say I think we need the crowd a little bit more behind us, because when you looked at the Midtjylland away crowd, I mean, you saw them midweek. Do you see their fans? I mean, they've got a band there, they've got the fans, and they were lifting their own players, and we hammered them. We should have won that game, but their fans were unbelievable. And I think a lot of away fans who come to City Ground, they must take the lead from when it starts. I think it gives the away fans a lift, because they're looking, thinking, bloody hell, when we start the games and they start singing, it does put hairs on the back of your neck. But then that's it. It's dead then, isn't it? So we need a bit more of a lift, because I think if you've got that sort of atmosphere at the start and during the game, surely that's going to lift the players, because you've got to do it yourself anyway as a player. But surely you need the fans to interact a little bit more, rather than think, we're playing well, the players are all right. You just give them a lift. I think that, like I said, because you're looking at players now, I just think as a side we're playing well, but we're not playing as a side. We're individuals, aren't we? You're picking out the same players: Murillo, Anderson, Sangari, maybe Igor Jesus, the same players, aren't they? Then you've got the cameos with Amari Hutchinson, Hudson-Odoi does the same sort of things, which he's going to do. So I just think we need something a little bit different. I mean, I have been critical of Taiwo in the past, but you don't know what you're going to get from him, do you? So I mean, yesterday when he went through, 9 times out of 10 we're going to think, well, he's going to miss anyway, but you just don't know if he's going to hit that the back of the net. But it was something different, wasn't it? At least he's getting behind the back 4, which we're not doing. So I just think I don't know, like I say, Victor knows what he's doing, but I just think we need to get down the sides. The wingers need to come in a little bit more and give them more of an option, because I don't see any delivery from the wingers. The balls what are coming in, they're not really dead balls where you can have a chance of scoring goals. It's all slowed down, and I think we've got the pace with Amari and stuff like that, where they can get behind and just go for it, because then it unsettles the defenders to sort of like go down the wings and stop. Then you've got all the centre halves in the middle of the box. It's easy for them to defend. They don't like to defend when they're running back to the goal. So surely if we turn them round a little bit more, get a few on goals, that might be the best way to do it. Put balls in the box as a running back defenders. As you've seen this season, there's been a few on goals because the defenders have tried to get the last ditch tackles and things. So I think we just need to turn them around a little bit more and make our own look.
Do you think, Franz, I was going to ask you about this later, but I'll do it now. When you look at our wingers, Hudson-Odoi, he wouldn't make that run in behind that Dan Ndoye does. He always comes to get it to feet mostly, and he's quite wide. Amari does run in behind, but it feels like he's running wide all the time, and then he has to check back and cut in. Dan Ndoye's the one that will start wide but run towards goal. Is that the best use of him that we saw yesterday? Because he isn't a hug the touchline winger, which I think he's been deployed as. If we are going to get 2 or 3 goals from him before the end of the season, is that the way to do it? What we saw yesterday?
Oh yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, we saw that as soon as he came on, he made an impact. And the same as Amari Hutchinson. You've got to turn people around. And I think because of the manager we've had him previously, they've all been given certain instructions to stay wide. Basically to protect the fullbacks, or if Nico's going down the side. Or say if Ola just plays where he wants, doesn't he, really, because he can. But at the same time, I think sometimes you want the wingers, if Ola's going up front or Nico, just to sit in. But I just think if you use your wingers the right way, you've got to slide the balls down the side, because the trouble's on the inside, it's not on the outside. Because if we were putting the balls in the box, I would say, listen, stick with the wingers, going on the outside, put it in the box. But we're not doing that. So we've got to change a little bit. And I think with Morgan, I've always said about Morgan, surely the player of his ability and his capability should be alongside the striker. You see him out on the wings and you're thinking, well, it's nice doing all the tricks out on the wing, but it's not going to hurt anybody, is it? So I'm thinking, I always feel sorry for Igor because he holds the ball up so well. But I think if you're playing a Forest side as a back four, the opposition, you're going to think, well, the ball's going to Igor Jesus. There's no threat behind the side. So I think the back four is what's set up against us. It's easy because at the end of the day, nothing's coming down the sides, is it? And then you'll know if you're looking at the last sort of few games with Forest where you think, well, the wingers won't go past anybody. They'll just try and throw the balls in the box. Then you're halfway there. So if you can change that, getting them behind the back four and getting the wingers and getting the ball in earlier, all of a sudden you've got a change of a team scoring goals, because there's not much wrong, is it? When you watch the games, the back four, Murillo, Milinkovic and Ola and Nico, it's a strong back four. So it's only like you said, Anderson should be playing more up front, I would think, and Lincoln in play, because he's got the capabilities. But when you look what he's got, the only thing what's missing from him is goals. He's got everything else apart from the goals. And you rely on Sangare, who can do that job and mop up. But I just think we need to do a little bit more and get behind their back four. If we get behind their back four, like I say, Ndoye made a massive impact, and then you had Taiwo, who seems to be looks like a handful, doesn't he? When he comes on, he's giving him some danger. Whereas with Igor's doing fantastic, but he's not going the other way, is he? He's more or less coming back into our half. So that's why I said the game's about opinions, and which side would you pick? But I would pick a side now. I think we're at that crucial point now where it's just go for it. The wingers, if you're going to get the ball, take them on, or just leave the wingers, let them get on, but have an end product rather than checking back and getting all the players back in defensive wise, where they're just heading the ball away or just kicking it 50 yards. Put them on their back foot, and then we'll be fine.
Quick word for the Trent Nav before we talk more about yesterday's game. You can see on screen all the offers coming up through the week. Also, obviously, the Midtjylland game is an early kickoff. It's televised, so you can head down to the Nav. They might have a beer offer. I'm not sure yet, but they often do for these games. So we'll bring you more on that through the week. But do check that out. Do enjoy the build-up and the Midtjylland game at the Nav. The Spurs game as well, I'm sure, is televised because it's on a Sunday and it's a massive game. So you can watch that down there as well, no doubt. And as I say, on screen, you can see all the offers that you can enjoy throughout the week. And thanks to those guys as ever for their support. When you look at the game yesterday, Greg, did it feel like the first half was a bit of a waste, in the sense that I was a bit confused by the team? Hudson-Odoi on the right, Morgan on the left, Dominguez as a 10. I didn't really feel like that was ever going to work. Were you watching the game thinking this is a weird team, or were you okay with what you were seeing?
It was certainly the 11 I think you'd want starting before the game. Yeah, maybe positional wise it was a little bit different, but it didn't cost us, did it? It's the problem with having 4 managers in a season. They haven't got time to try things, and when they do, it's going to be very noticeable. I mean, this time of the season, you want to be settled and know your plan. And unfortunately for this new manager, he's just learned all the names, hasn't he? So he thought he could try something. Didn't necessarily work, but didn't cost us. And we came on with a lot more opportunities in the second half. But and I mean, straight away, didn't we? Straight after the second half, it looked like we'd got a penalty. And I think that's why Thursday's going to be good for us, just because these players need to learn quick with him. And it's another game where I think it'll be good for us. I know at this time of the season, you say there's too many games and too many competitions, but I think for us, it could be the difference. And roll us into Sunday, which I can't stop thinking about, to be honest.
380 people with us, which is lovely. Do hit like, that'd be much appreciated. One of the 380 people is Laura Mitchell, who's ratting you out. Did you spend too long in the post-match drowning sorrows / celebrating a point, Greg, at the Nav yesterday?
I can't remember, to be honest. It's
probably yes then.
Just a steady Sunday afternoon. I had to give a shout out to the Trent Nav, actually. Laura's just reminded me about their fantastic cheese and onion cobs. So
on the bar, yeah.
yeah, but no, it was enjoyable to an extent. Trying to see, it was weird cheering a Liverpool goal. That felt a bit dirty, but yeah, it's always good when there's a game on of importance after yours. So no, it's all right.
Picking up on that, Franz. I mean, it did strike me as odd, a couple of things Pereira did yesterday. I do like him. I think he's done a good job. But if we can't score goals, why is Hudson-Odoi on the right where he doesn't make an impact, and Dominguez in the 10 where he doesn't make an impact, and Morgan, it felt like he was getting the ball quite deep. Respect to Pereira for changing it and getting what we wanted second half, but I thought that was odd. And then taking Morgan off for Yates when you need a goal. I know it pushed Anderson further forwards, so there was some merit in it, but it felt like it took a lot of it. We lost some momentum in the game. Were you confused by some of those things, or can you see what he was thinking?
I just think he's trying different things. I think he's probably got a pack of cards, shuffle in the pack and see what numbers come out. So, because when you look at what the changes he made, they were a little bit strange. But at the same time, he's probably trying to do something different to see if it works. So, like I said, it's a difficult one for him coming in. Because when you've got a side playing well, and realistically you've only got the finishing touches to scoring a goal, what can you do? You're looking for someone to, a bit of a spark, someone to score a goal. I mean, if that would have gone in yesterday with Ola's shot, it was unbelievable, wasn't it, really? But I mean, again, it's not gone in, is it? I mean, you've done everything perfect. And then you look at the last probably 3 home games, or probably 4. You look at Palace, you look at Wolves. All them games are, there's 9 points there. And which we comfortably should have won, and so it is down to the strikers now, isn't it, and the players. So I just think we need to play more in their box and create more chances, because everywhere else looks pretty looks like it showed up, isn't it? Really, midfield's fine, back four's fine, keeper's fine. I think did Matt have to make one save yesterday? Fulham,
yeah, one
Fulham
good
looked
save,
like I mean, Fulham just looked like they were there for the taking, because I think we are a good side. It's just like I say, everybody wants that goal scorer, don't they? Or someone who's going to chip in. You've got to, like I said to you, different positions. You need goals from all positions, don't you? Rather than just relying on Morgan or even Igor. They need help, which leaves a bit of pressure off them. So I just think we need a bit more from the wide men. Maybe Victor may start pushing the wide men in a little bit more, so we can get down the sides, because we've got the pace. It's a matter of turning it over. Because look at Taiwo. I think one of the best balls, 2 of the best balls yesterday was from Murillo and from Elliot Anderson just before he came off. I mean, they're great balls. But how many times do we have a situation where we've got players going in that position? You don't see Igor doing that because he's too busy fighting off the defenders, laying the ball back. So I think Victor's, is an experienced manager, has been around. Maybe, he's got enough time to tinker with the players and put them in the right positions and hopefully get some goals in, because we need it from somewhere.
I had a look at Igor Jesus's record. Obviously, we know his goal scoring record. I mean, in terms of how much football he's actually played, I think from what I could see, he has to go back all the way back to August 2023 since he had a break, because he was playing in the UAE. He went to Brazil, so he went mid-season, played a Brazil season, another Brazil season, World Club Cup until late June, and then he came to Forest and was straight into a pre-season. So you're going back 2.5 years before he's had a break from football. He looks absolutely shot to me, Greg, whether it's confidence or physically. Does he have to come out of the team for Taiwo now, or do you stick with Igor because it might be risky to start Taiwo when he's barely started a game himself in 2 years?
I think with the strikers, we have to go down that route of starters and finishers rather than subs, because unfortunately I don't think Taiwo is a 90-minute guy as it stands, but he can clearly be a pest and a menace and create some chances. So I don't know whether you start him and maybe Hazy, like Jesus, can be an impact sub. Maybe that's a difference for him. Give him a bit of a break and get him hungry and get on. It's certainly worth a try. But I just don't believe we can have Taiwo as a 90-minute guy now from now until the end of the season. Certainly not.
No, maybe a 60-minute guy, and then you bring the other one on. I agree. When you look at that Spurs game, Franz, as well, if Van der Ven and Romero play, which I guess they will, I don't think Van der Ven likes that kind of physical striker. Romero is hot-headed, to say the least. So personally, I feel like Taiwo would just rough them up and create more chaos. I know Igor's done really well in some games, but like I say, he looks knackered. He was brilliant at Anfield away holding the ball up, but he isn't at that level right now. So I suppose it's the same question. Do you start with Taiwo to rough them up, or do you bring Taiwo on late in the game when they're already knackered, and then hopefully we're still in the game and we do finally nick a goal and win it?
I think his impact. I think I wouldn't start him. Because I think it takes him a while to get going, Tyler, doesn't it, to be honest? So I think once the game's up and running, it's better to bring him on, but probably bring him on a bit earlier than they did before. But then you've got so many options. I mean, what about Luca and Taiwo? You can talk about all sorts of things, can't you? And just throw something out there and think, well, we'll play them two up front. And everybody's going to be thinking, what the hell's going on there? But we need something to change, don't we? And like I said, if you've got two players like that up front, just for instance, just speaking, out loud, wingers have got to get the ball in the box because you've got something to hit. So you know what I mean? It's getting down the side. So I mean, if you're getting balls in the box and you've got two players like that, sure they're going to have chances. If you're looking at 88 chances in the last 4 games, if you've got them two in the box and getting balls in there, surely you're going to get a few goals. So I honestly, I don't even know what formation to play, but I would definitely put Taiwo on as an impact player. So I wouldn't start him from starting because you need players, especially early doors, to be holding the ball up. And with Taiwo, it's always coming straight back. And I think as the game goes on, he may probably read the game more from the bench, thinking he knows what to do when he comes on. But he certainly made an impact when he came on. He's through twice, which we've not seen, have we, for the last few games? Not seen anybody actually going down the sides or getting past anybody, apart from Ndoye and Taiwo. So that tells a story in itself, doesn't it?
Mm. Is it a pretty damning indictment of everything that's happened, Greg, that we're talking? I mean, I'm clinging to a guy who scored 2 goals in 2 years or something. I know he's been through a hell of a lot in Taiwo and gives everything for the club, but we're going back to a guy who we know is pretty limited, really, as much as he's done for us. Luca has been, as soon as we sacked Davies, I just thought Luca was a dud, unless we do what Franz is saying and cross it in a lot. And then Jesus has got 2 Premier League goals. So to be going back to Taiwo, is it just a sign of how bad things have gone this season, or is that disrespectful to Taiwo?
Well, he's fit again, isn't he? And before he had his terrible injuries, he was the guy anyway. It is an indictment of where we are in the season. It has been a poor season where we're not scoring enough goals. So you've got to get the next man up and hope he hits some form, because I think this will possibly be Taiwo's, I don't know, one of his last seasons for us, the way things are going. So he's got to take this opportunity, and he's got to think about where he'll be playing next season potentially, and get a couple of goals towards the end of the season, some important ones, and it could transform the remainder of his career. But it is tough. Like Luca, I think we've written him off, haven't we? Pretty sharpish, pretty quickly, without any of us really knowing if he can do it for us. But he's not going to get much of a look in, and with Wood, get him fit and get him ready to play some minutes. Hopefully things can change in that sense, and you'd be thinking then maybe Wood and Jesus 2 up front. Who knows? Just
on what Greg was saying there, Franz, about Taiwo's got to think about where he's playing his football next season. I mean, a lot of them have to think that. I know players like Anderson, Gibbs-White, Murillo, they'll get moves, I'm sure. If we sell those players for 150, 200 million quid total, Marinakis might just turn around to the rest of them and say, I don't need to sell you lot. You've got me relegated. We're okay for parachute money for a year, so you're not going anywhere. So, suck it up and get on with it if we get relegated. I don't know if that's how it'll pan out, but it wouldn't surprise me with Marinakis. So the players have to think about that, don't they? They don't want a relegation on their CV at all.
Well, all of them. But when you think about it, listen, the owner we've got, Marinakis, the 3 players we're talking about, if we go down, is he not going to say, well, you're part of that. You need to get us back up? Not unless we get ridiculous fees. So he's not somebody who's going to think, well, hang on a second, I'm going to sell my 3 best players. If they've got the right price tag, if we do go down, he'll sell them. But if not, he's going to say, well, you've got to get us back up because you were part of that. So I think, I don't think he's, you talk about an owner who's passionate and loves the club. But like I said, some of the decisions he's made, that's just down to him. Edu coming in and, you hear all these stories around the club, what's been going on. The players he's brought in. Shevchenko is, sort of like a surplus to requirements from Arsenal. then I mean, where's the left back gone? The German left back, has he gone back on holiday or something?
Lucanets, he was on the bench yesterday, but he didn't get on.
I mean, he's only played and he's actually played in the Bundesliga, so you'd think, is he going to come in on the left hand side? I don't know. There's so many different things because he's not going to get in front of Nico and Ola, but at the same time, he's got experience. So will he give you a bit of balance? Could he play, a couple more players up front? I don't know because, like I said, with Victor now coming in, he's looking at so many different things, and he's always changing his hand, isn't he? So you can see his hands on, and he's looking to try and get the best team to perform and score goals. So it is quite, like I said, even when Sean was here and the other managers were here, they were doing the same things, weren't they? The players were doing the same things, just couldn't get a win. I mean, the last game I think was shown with Wolves. We should have won that game. I mean, was that the game where we had 5 against 1 and we couldn't score? You know what I mean? So, I mean, things like that, you've got to ask yourself questions. What is going on? Are we a little bit tentative at home? Because we seem to play better away from home sometimes, don't we? Seems like there's no pressure on. Because, like I said, the expectations on the City ground now is because we're there, we've done fantastically well. We're third last year, did well this season. I think the crowd is thinking, well, we're all right now. We're fine. We'll get a goal. And as the longer it goes on, we're thinking, where's this goal coming from? And maybe with Morgan, maybe he's trying too hard because he seems to be everywhere apart from in that box.
A few people in the chat saying they have release clauses. Some of them they might do. Quite a lot of them might. I don't know. But the way Forest do contracts, the way Marinakis works, I don't know. He drives a hard bargain, and he's made a lot of mistakes this season that he will want to put right if we do go down. As they have done collectively. I would say. I would think.
Yeah, but I don't. Like I said, I think we'll be fine. I think it's just a matter of finding the goals. If we get the goals, we're fine. Like I said, we've never really been opened up at the back, have we? Where we're thinking it's going to be 5, 10, 15 shots, and then you've got a lot of clean sheets as well. So it's top end. I think that's what we've got to. I think they're probably going in training now. Everybody's shooting. Must just shooting sessions rather than actually tactical. Because at the end of the day, it's like there's the goal, there's the post. It's supposed to go in the middle of that. So we've just got to, like I said, hit the back of the net, and then hopefully things will change for us. But like I said, I'm still positive. I still think we'll stay up. Forget about your Leeds, Tottenham and West Ham. Let them have their own problems and own battles and let us get our 3 points.
Last one on the game, Greg. We haven't discussed the VAR one. We discussed it on the post-match show, but the margin that Ndoye was offside. I mean, I don't know. They do go for you. They do go against you. But when they go against you, it is painful. Is it just for you another sign that VAR's got to go? Or is this just modern football and we're stuck with it?
Yeah, we're absolutely stuck with it. Another bum. That was it, wasn't it? I remember Chelsea away in the cup. First time we had VAR. And I think one of our players' bums was offside, and it's come around the other way this time. But it's what it is, isn't it? There should be a little change to the rules, but look, if it was Fulham who scored that goal, we'd have been delighted. And it's just is what it is. As long as that was the exact point the ball was released, then we can't really complain about it.
That's the only question I have is like, how do they know the exact? It's such a fine margin. How do they know the exact point? I don't know if it's done with technology or if it's done with humans. I don't know. Maybe I need to read up on it. But I'd like the PGMOL to explain how these decisions are made about point of impact with the ball. Because I know there's a small margin for error, this thin red line, the 5 centimetre thing, but it just feels so cruel, doesn't it, Greg, when they just go like that?
And it's weird because then, like, you could have a terrible offside that gets you a corner and then you score from it, but they'd never go back and say, oh no, because it's different phases of play and all that. So it's never going to be perfect, but we are absolutely stuck with it, and no doubt it'll be in the Championship and further down within a few years anyway. I wish that they'd give the fans in the stadium a little bit more. I know they're trying to get a little bit better with that, but as I listened to the radio the other day, and someone made a good point that 30 years ago in rugby league, they were showing decisions on the big screen. So I think it'd help to be made a little bit more aware of what's going on when you're in the stadium.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, a couple of comments that highlight how it goes. I think Florian Wirtz scored a goal against Fulham where he just looked offside and it was given because of this leeway, 5 centimetre leeway, and Lee points out as well. When that one at West Ham where I think Somerville scored and it was a previous phase of play, and that was probably where it went in our favour. So it is swings and round, but it is a killer. Is it killing football, Franz, or not?
It is what it is, isn't it? At the end of the day, so sometimes it goes for you, sometimes it goes against you. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the way the games are, score the goals naturally. You haven't got that problem, have you? It's as simple as that. You're not going to question like, if Oliver scored yesterday, there's no VAR involved in that. And the same as Taiwo. So they are fine margins, but at the same time, it can go for you or against you. I mean, the Liverpool game with was it McAllister where he hit him on the back and gone in, and they disallowed that. I mean, how could you actually say that was handball when he's turned his back? So you've got all these different, and that went for us, and then they end up getting a goal after that. So, like I said, it swings in roundabouts. It's how the PGMOL, the way they look at it. You've got a panel, and sometimes it's. I don't think everybody agrees, do they? I think it's a matter of like a vote and think, well, is it in or is it not in? But I would say yesterday we should have got the benefit of the doubt. Was it a heel or a toe or something or whatever?
I think it was a heel and an elbow were offside, which really gave him a huge advantage.
Yeah, which is, like I said, it's ridiculous, really. But it's where do you draw the line? Is it your torso? It's like the sprinters. Is it the chest which is over the line? If your leg's over the line, it's not the same, is it? When you dip for the line. They could throw something like that in because you to win a race, you'd have to win with the chest, not by a leg. So I don't know what they can do, but I think they could tinker it a little bit and make it more obvious rather than I think was it a nose? Somebody had a nose the other day with a nose
by the side, yeah.
So I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, it's here to stay, isn't it? It does help. I think we brought that in more or less for the goal line stuff when it went over the line. We don't see any of them anymore, do we? Where it's at the crossbar and it looks like it's over the line, it bounces back out. You see more controversial stuff with offside or, like you say, first phase or second phase or blocking the goalkeeper and all sorts of things. But it keeps us talking. So I don't mind it, to be honest. It's controversial, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about the goal line is the goal line doesn't move, so where that is. It's where they draw these lines. But
it's cost a lot of clubs, though, hasn't it? I mean, was it Lampard in the World Cup?
Yeah.
One time. I mean, that was clearly over, and all of a sudden you're talking about a different story, then, aren't you? If England win. So I mean, I think it is for the good. I think the referees should have a little bit more of a say because we won't even go about the one about Midtjylland the other night. I think he was playing for the other side. I've never seen anything like it. That referee.
Allegedly,
he just needed a red nose and some big boots, and it'd be all right. But I mean, like I said, these referees sometimes they do need to be accounted for because some of the decisions they make. And I feel one of the main players is ego because he just gets battered from pillar to post, and yet a lot of the referees just let it go rather than giving them benefit of the doubt. So I think sometimes they're a little bit looking towards the VAR or the referees to make decisions rather than themselves. You know what I mean? All you keep seeing is that, and there's or look at the screens rather than making a decision because they're under scrutiny as well. Because if they get it wrong, they've got problems, don't they? They used to get demoted. They don't get demoted anymore, do they? To the
rarely. They're all professionals, aren't they? They're on a list. So it's interesting. Every week's the same, isn't it? There's always some controversy of what's gone on, or there's always something anyway. I think as long as they have VAR and technology, and it's not just down to linesmen or assistant referees, we're going to have these conversations because you've got to draw the line somewhere. Even with this Wenger rule of daylight, it's like, well, where do you decide when daylight starts and nighttime ends or whatever? There's going to be some debate over it. So it's a depressing part of football. We could do a whole bit on, is the Premier League actually really boring as well now? But that's a conversation for another day, I think. Right. Let's take a word for Global Telemetrics. And we'll talk more about the Spurs game and the week ahead, just to wrap things up. We'll be back in 1 minute.
Just touched down in Belfast, half an hour to our destination, and I got a very interesting phone call. Hello?
Hello, sorry to disturb you. I'm just calling from Global Telemetrics.
Yeah.
I'll check everything's all right.
I've literally just got here now in Belfast, yeah.
No problem.
That's interesting.
Amazing, as long as that's
What, so when the car gets abroad, it sends you a signal to tell you the car's left the country?
Because I'm part of the night shift, so we're a bit more sensitive towards it, especially this time is when most cars are going missing. So if I see it leaving different country, we act a bit more sharpish on it.
No, that's really true. I've literally just come off the ferry now, so you lot are bang on, so fair play to you lot. But yeah, sold it. So when I get over here and I've signed it all over, I'll ring Andy and get him to take it off my tracker. But brilliant, thank you so much.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Shout out Global Telemetrics. So that's the people I use the tracker. They're the ones that got me the G-Wagon back. Obviously, they've realised the car is abroad and they're phoning to make sure it's okay. That is why you need a tracker.
Imagine how random that call would have been if you were just in your bed.
Yeah, I woke up. Your car's just arrived in Belfast. Can you imagine? Yeah, people don't realise how important it is to have trackers and immobilisers nowadays. So key.
Shout out Global Telemetrics. There you go. Thanks very much to those guys for their support. Right, this Spurs game, Greg. I think you said that. Did you say there's everything on it? I can't remember. Do you think there is everything on it? I mean, obviously it's a massive game, but we keep seeing like teams can go anywhere now and get a point. Are we obsessing too much? I do this. Are we obsessing too much over one game and brackets a game and it's an 8-game season, or is literally we lose to Spurs and we're totally screwed? How do you see this game?
No, of course we're not. We lose to Spurs. The team below us might lose as well. Like Leeds might lose and we're still in touching distance of them. It's a massive, massive game. It's the biggest game of next weekend. Yeah, the most things are on it, and get a win, it'd be absolutely incredible. Get a draw, yeah, you'd probably take that now, but lose, it can damage us. Of course it's going to damage us, but what an opportunity. Suddenly Spurs get a point at Anfield and everyone's saying, oh, they've turned a corner, this, that, the other. They haven't. Like, we could absolutely go and beat them, and I'm hoping more than ever that we do, because I'd love to see them in the Championship. I really would. But yeah, it's huge. It's not be all and end all. It's not season won or lost on Sunday. Absolutely. If there was 2 games left, then yeah, different story. But there's a hell of a lot of football left to play and a hell of a lot of points, like over 20 points left to play for, isn't there? So it's huge. It's massive. And that's why we're talking about that and not Thursday now, the way our season's gone. But yeah, it's a big one.
I guess that draw with Liverpool fans, unless they get absolutely slaughtered by Atletico Madrid, it probably means Igor Tudor is going to be in charge. So how are you seeing that game on? We'll talk about Thursday as well, but specifically the Sunday game, which I feel is bigger. How are you viewing Sunday right now?
The pressure's off us a little bit playing at Spurs. And listen, their fans are against them, aren't they? They've got no atmosphere at the new stadium. And I just think we can turn them over. Liverpool played rubbish yesterday. I saw the highlights and stuff, and they're a shadow of the team, what they were last season. Even, they're in and out this season as well. But really at Anfield, they always perform at Anfield. But I'm very surprised the way they played. So Spurs, I know it's a bit of a smash and grab, but Spurs are Spurs. I mean, Greg will tell you, I'd love to see them down in the Championship. And can you imagine Daniel Levy thinking, well, careful what you wish for? Same as West Ham with David Moyes, and people, the fans are, we want this, we want that. All of a sudden, it's backfired. Where you've got our owner who's basically will say, listen, what do you want? I've got the tools. What do you need? And he gives us everything. But the only problem is you just that revolving door. It's just one in, one out, one in, one out. So to get that stability with the players, it's hard, isn't it? When you think about the players this season, the way they've played and performed, and we could have won games, they've done fantastically well, really. If they have a look at themselves and think, we have 4 managers coming, and all we've really missed is goal scoring, because they've played well. Whoever's come in has done a good job. So it's getting that stability, isn't it? Because whoever comes in to perform with the players and get the all these tactics and everything else, there's not too much wrong, is there? It's a strange one this season, where we're not going away thinking, oh, we're rubbish or we played rubbish. It's just the fact that we've missed these goals, all these chances. So I'm quite optimistic. I think we'll beat Spurs. I think we've got, like I said, I think we've got more than enough to stay up. I just don't understand why we're down there, and we do know because of the goals, but everything else is it looks pretty good.
I think this comment from James Smith it makes the right point, Greg. I think whoever wins the next game will be in the box seat. Leeds get a win. I don't know who Leeds are playing next, but they really back themselves to stay up. And similarly, if we get a win over Spurs, we would feel much more confident. I know West Ham have got Villa next. I can see West Ham winning that, to be honest. But, put 3 points on the board and everything changes. I know we've been saying that for ages and ages. And that's why I find it hard to keep going, because we keep saying that. But win a game and it's transformative at this stage, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's funny how you'd say I could see West Ham winning that, because we're not West Ham fans, and West Ham fans would say, I could see Forest winning at Spurs. It's the confidence of your team against others, isn't it? Yeah, it is huge. And everyone's saying about easy run-ins. Leeds have an easy run-in. Well, they're what, 5th from bottom, so there's going to be no easy games for them either. The difference this season to last season is you were hoping teams lose around you, and they do down there, whereas where we were last season, they don't. So yeah, it's just going to be a horrible few weeks. Get a win on Sunday, then is it international break?
About 3 weeks without a game. A bit of a nightmare for me. Yeah.
Oh, which is fantastic, though, isn't it? It's exactly what we need. Then you suddenly got Chris Wood's probably all firing, and a bit of a rest for everyone. It's been an intense few months. Whatever happens on Thursday, it depends if we've got any more extra games. But there's teams, West Ham playing Leeds, aren't they, in the cup, and there's a lot can go wrong for these other teams as well. And I know we're wishing failure on others, but unfortunately that's in the position we're in, aren't we? Hope we stay fit, hope they get some injuries, and luck turns our way a bit.
Yeah, that's the big thing about this Spurs game for me, is that 3-week break, because after 3 weeks they'll probably have at least 2 or 3 players back, like Kudus and other guys. They might have a different manager. So if we go there and win, get above them and just keep our heads above water, if we lose, it does feel like.
So you've just seen that as the 3 weeks is a positive for Spurs, but not us.
No, it
I
is
feel like
positive
I'm
for us. No, it is a positive for us, but the difference is, what are we realistically going to transform in 3 weeks when we've got the same set of players? Unless Chris Wood comes back.
I think that's surely an aim. They said April, didn't they, back then? And if he is on grass now, then that's a fantastic sign, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a good bonus.
What can we expect when players come back from long-term injuries, Franz? A lot of the time, like I remember Jack Lester did it years ago. Came back and scored 4 in 4 or 3 in 3, and then adrenaline dropped and he did nothing for about 10 games in a row. So can we expect Chris Wood to really come back and make a difference, or is that asking a lot for a guy who's been out since?
It's asking a lot, but I think this is present because he's still got credit in the bank, and what he's done last season. So just the fact with him turning out, you've got back fours of a thing, and Chris Wood's back. So I mean, it's just that presence. It probably gives you that extra yard. Where some defenders will probably be tight on him. They're probably thinking, hang on a second, we've got to back off him a little bit. So I just think him just being involved is enough to give all the players a lift, because you need your goal scorers. And like I said, it's a long time since we've had anybody who's put them numbers together. So it's a bonus. But that 3 week period, like I say, if we can win the 2 games now at the weekend, it'll just settle everybody down a little bit more. Victor can get on the grass a little bit more and work with the players. And he's probably found out a lot about the players so far because of the 2 games we're having a week. That's what I said, when you've just got 1 game a week, you can't really do too much and find out, who's going to be standout players for you. So Thursday's another big one. I mean, people will say they're going to rest players and things like that, but I just think this day and age, what the players have got for them, they should be able to play 2 games. And if you're in Europe as well, I mean, why would you not want to be in Europe and say we're not going to bother about that? That's the momentum what keeps you going, doesn't it? Regardless of
he said he's going to make changes, though. He said in his Radio Nottingham interview he's going to make changes against Midtjylland.
Yeah, but then what he says and what he does, because like I said, the weekend just gone, we would have never thought Gibbs White was playing out wide, would we? So we don't know what he's looking to play, what formation. Obviously, the main 3 he might rest, but I just think sometimes playing games is your training and your fitness. Because if you don't need to train as much because the games are getting you through. That's what it was like in my day. The games will get you through. You're playing twice a week. You have a couple of days rest and you're ready to go again. Your body's relaxed and you're going again. Not unless you're carrying niggly injuries, but at the same time, the games get you through because that's where the points and the stats, that's where they count, not in training. If you think, I bet somebody will probably say, listen, in training, the lads are hitting scoring goals left, right and centre. It's just when they get out on the pitch. So I'm sure if you go to training, you'll see everything, all the goals going in, and you think, well, why are they not replicating that when it comes into games? So I think the games are the important ones. They're the main ones where you're getting the 3 points, and like I said, getting some goal scorers in there and getting everybody else chipping in.
Yeah, I mean, he said that about McAtee. He said that he's brilliant in training, but he's got no confidence on the pitch.
I don't know. Is that what they say about him? I don't know.
That's what Pereira said yesterday. He said he can do magical things in training, and that's why he brought him on. But when he's on the pitch, he's lacking confidence, I think he said. Yeah, so that's the boat we're in. You'll be out there, Greg, on Thursday. So when you see that team sheet and it's either got 7, 8 changes or it's full strength, what will your reaction be either way?
Probably quite blurry and, So, my friend sent me a bit of info on the game and the ground, and you can drink in your seat, which is a strange experience for us fans from Nottingham.
Yeah.
But talk about encourage it. If you buy 6 beers, it's cheaper. So it'll be an interesting game. See if the atmosphere is any better for that one. I think we all understand where our bread is buttered for this season, unfortunately. Like someone said in the comments, we've waited 30 years to be in the European leagues again, and unfortunately it's now not a priority because of the importance of the Premier League. But I still very much think we can get a result there, even if we do have a weakened team, because our weakened team is still a very high-class Premier League quality team, and we've been unfortunate against them. They've had our number twice, but they lost at home, I think, for the first time in a year this weekend. So, they might be down on their luck a little bit, hopefully. Small away and small ground, hybrid pitch, I think. There's a lot of differentials, and who knows what a result out there could do for a confidence as well. But I'll be excited no matter what the team is, to be honest.
As long as
ironically, they rested a lot of players, I think, ironically, for that game to prepare for facing us. They preserved their best players, so maybe that was part of it.
They need a decent referee, because that referee midweek was a joke. I've never done anything like it. So, I mean, they're up against it, Midtjylland. I mean, we did hammer them, didn't we, to be honest? And nothing went our way. And the referee was basically, I would say, definitely biased. I've never seen anything like it. He just dismissed everything what we were trying to do. So, I think Thursday, let's get a good result Thursday. It carries it on into the weekend, doesn't it? That's why I said, European games, it's got to be good for you. You can't think, you're sort of like biting your fingernails and thinking, we've got to wait till Sunday. At least you've got something before that to think, where we're going to go with the side. So for me, Europe is a good foil for the Premier League.
Greg, you've got to go in a minute. I've got one more question for Franz, but I'll let you go first. Anything you want to say before you depart or not?
No, just I thought the crowd looked fantastic with all those scarves and a little bit of a display, and we're going to do our bit now for the run-in, and hopefully you'll see a lot more of our lot being a bit more active around the stadium towards the end of the season. So if anyone wants to help us, get in touch with Forza, because it's all hands on deck.
Good man. Right, I think we might do something in Denmark with you. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see what state you're in when you said about the price of beer.
I mean, what is this misconception about me? I'll be very sensible.
You just said you'll be leathered when you see the team sheet.
One of the places we're going is where Lego was founded. So there you go.
You're a man of culture. There you go.
Yeah.
I take it all back.
Okay. Franz, it was lovely to speak to you.
Yeah, it's the first time I've been on. But I'm going to get all these stories about you now. I've not heard them.
Oh God, yeah. Well,
not a chance.
Not while we're live, you're not.
No, I know that. Off there, I'll be in the big shed or the nav. I've got to go in there again at some point with others.
Definitely.
Exactly.
I'd look forward to that. Right. I'll speak to you all later.
Yeah.
Cheers, Greg. See you in a bit.
Bye.
Franz, were you around for the Anderlecht game? Was that before your time or not? In the UEFA Cup semi-finals?
Mine was the early 80s, but not the Anderlecht game. Yeah.
Okay, I was just curious about that. Fair enough, because you talked about referees. That was obviously a genuinely biased.
I remember that one. Yeah, that was another decision making and stuff. But don't forget, Forest were the kings of Europe around that time, so everything was going to go against them. So it's the side what wasn't supposed to win, which did win. So. That's why they got the two stars there, which was always nice to see, isn't it?
Exactly. Right, we'll wrap things up in 1 second. If you've enjoyed this, do us a favour, hit like, hit subscribe. Do consider membership or Patreon or a lovely 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. We'll be back tomorrow. I think we'll do a Q&A, so I'll hand the agenda over to you guys as ever about this time of the week, and I'll put an appeal out for questions on Twitter and for channel members and on Discord later, so do check that out. I'm not sure who the panel is. I think it's Mikey, but I'm not sure who else will be with him if Mikey does it as well. But do join us tomorrow for that. Franz, any final thoughts? Anything you want to add before we go?
Just the coming weeks of cup finals. I think every game we play are cup finals to get them 3 points and just move up that table, because we're more than capable of holding our own. And I still think we'll stay up. It's just a matter of getting them goals, and that's the only thing which is the icing on the cake is score some goals, and we'll be fine. Because like I said, we've got clean sheets. We're doing quite well, but it's not. It's the other end in that the final third. We need to start banging the goals in.
Brian asks, what's that shirt over my shoulder? A 1959 FA Cup final shirt, Brian, I think it is, without me turning around, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Good. I think you and Greg have lifted my spirits a bit. I think you're right. We've got the foundations of a team. I think saying, if we just start scoring goals is the thing that makes me worried, because it's hard to see us. We have so many shots that you either look at it as the goals are coming or the goals aren't coming because these players can't score. Maybe we do shake it up, like you say. I just look at I hope Dan Ndoye can come on and get a couple. Maybe Taiwo can force a couple.
He looked good. Dan Ndoye looked good when he came on, and like I said, he was going down the sides. Taiwo, like I said, it seems like it's the goal against Brentford has given him a lift, but he disappeared after that. I don't know what happened, if he was injured. All of a sudden,
he was injured for a bit, but it was disappointing not to see him on the pitch at all when he was fit. Yeah,
and to be fair, like I said yesterday, he did do a cameo, and he looked like he would, he'd turned the back four around, 2 or 3 times. So I mean, if you're getting them in them positions all the time, one of them got to go in. Like I said, the Brentford could do it another Brentford one, can't we? When he came on and scored the goal. So I just think he's definitely impact. I wouldn't start him. I'd be putting him on. Because it just shakes the back four up, especially the centre halves. I think when they see him coming on, it's thinking they've got an handful, and Spurs will be, especially if he's fit, he can come on. I don't think he'll start him, but he can come on and ruffle them. Especially Romero, if he's playing, he's bound to get sent off, and Tyrell will get him sent off.
Do you think it suits us better tactically away? Because we really struggle to break down teams that sit in. The only time we broke down Fulham was runs in behind, Ina's run, Ndoye's run, exploiting pretty limited space. Yeah. Spurs aren't a team that are going to sit in, I imagine, at home. I don't know Tudor's tactics inside out, but I don't know if their fans are going to tolerate them having 30, 40% of the ball. They don't want them to pour it on us. So does that arguably suit us with an Ndoye, a Taiwo, a Hutchinson to maybe open them up a bit more? Whether we finish the chances or not is a different question. Yeah. But being away from home with their crowd as well, is it actually better for us or not?
Yeah, I think it's better for us because our back four is strong. We've got a strong back four and the midfield's strong. So like I said, I think the only thing we need to do is tinker a little bit up the front, going down the sides, the wingers come in more, and then whoever's playing up front is turn them round. If we can do that, I think it's job done. We're not doing it, are we? If you look at all the games we've been playing, we're not turning back fours around, are we? We're not getting through the gaps. We're playing all the nice football in front, and then we're taking, that's what I said with these shots, we're taking a lot of shots from outside the box rather than in the box. So if you can turn them around, it was nice to see. And Ndoye, obviously it was offside, but that was nice to see. Someone's actually gone through a one-on-one with the keeper. I think it's only happened a couple of times with Igor. He got through a few times in the season. Last few games he got through a couple of times, but then he's not used to going on a one-on-one when he's going through because normally he's got his back to play. So if we can start doing that more, then they'll get more, interested, more involved. But I just think we get the goals, all is forgiven, isn't it? But we keep saying it every week. That's the problem. We keep saying every week we need the goals, and they've got to come from somewhere because you can't keep putting all that hard work in, not just for the players, the club, the managers who've been there. There's got to be some input there and some impetus for the players to say, listen, we've got all the tools. We just need to finish, goals off. But I still want Murillo to go on a mazy, go and beat 2 or 3 players and have a shot. I'd sooner watch that. So it's just the excitement. When you see certain players who've got it and they excite you, there's not a lot of that going on, is there? And Taiwo, like I said, when he came on, there was a little bit of a lift, wasn't there? Even though you didn't know what he was going to do, there was a bit of a lift thinking that this might happen. Whereas 60, 70 minutes playing the game, thinking we might get one, we might do this, and all of a sudden you get the 2 cameos, and Ndoye come on, Tyrell comes on, it looks a lot better. But I just thought we can get more of an atmosphere at the City Ground for when it starts to continue that. Maybe we need a band, Matt, and if we can get a band in there playing the whole 90 minutes to lift the spirits, because a lot of other away sides are doing that now, and they're giving the players a lift, aren't they?
Yeah, it was quiet. Yeah, I think as well, just when you say turn them round, it's not like pumping it from the fullback or the centre back into a channel. It's hitting a ball over the top, like the Ndoye one. And there were a couple of decent dinked balls or through gaps that I just hopefully we see more of. Yeah, like I say, Hudson-Odoi. I'm a fan of Hudson-Odoi. I like him, but his instinct is not to run in behind. Hutchinson's isn't particularly to run in behind. McAtee isn't going to run in behind. Nor is Morgan Gibbs-White, really. So someone's got to do it.
But that's the coach's job to do it and give them the confidence that they can do it. Because even Hudson-Odoi can do that, but obviously because he's used to cutting inside all the time, you know, he should be basically, that's the last thing you should be doing in training. I'd be saying get on the outside all the time as a winger. Your job is always to get past the fullback. For me, as a winger previously, if you're cutting back and putting balls in, it's easy. It's an easy thing to do. The hardest thing to do is beating your man and getting the ball in the box, and that's what we need to do more rather than have the easy way out. You know, it slows down when we get down there. They check back, put the ball in the box, and everybody's is standstill, is stationary. You know, there's nobody moving onto the ball. And when you've looked at a lot of goals this season, the own goals were from the centre halves. Where they're coming from, wingers beating people, and they're trying to get last-ditch tackles. So we could do with probably a couple of own goals if that's the case, if we can't score. But turn them round. Turn the wingers, turn the fullbacks round, and don't dwell on the ball too long. Just get at him. Because, like I said, Mario Hutchinson's got that. He doesn't need to do too many tricks because he's got the pace. And players know who they're playing against, you know, if they're quick or if they're not quick, especially wingers, where you're just going to knock it past them and think, well, you know, it's a foot race then, isn't it? So let's hope that we can get that confidence with the lads and start turning around. Because you've got Murillo, you've got Elliot Anderson who can find them passes, can't they? You know, they if there's a pass on and they see you, they'll find you. There's the so yeah, fingers crossed we can just move forward and just get relief for the next few weeks rather than thinking what's going to happen.
Hopefully so. We'll leave it there. Just Paul in the chat asking any news on Jaya Cunha. I haven't heard anything. Next press conference should be Tuesday, so tomorrow with Pereira. So I mean, it'd be a big bonus if he is back soon or plays again this season because he was just starting to come into his own. So we'll keep an eye out for that.
And then you wonder where he's been.
Well, you do wonder why he has. Yeah, every time he's seen him, he's looked decent to me.
He's looked decent, hasn't he? You think to yourself, if he played early on in the season instead of Morata, and all of a sudden it's a different thing. But it's about opinions, isn't it? The game. It's all about opinions and coaches who they're going to play and who they're not going to play. So yeah, hopefully he comes back and gets involved in that back four if you need him.
Lee in the chat says Jaya Cunha told he was out for a month yesterday. So if Lee's right, then when's that? That would be mid-April. So still some games to play. So we'll keep tabs on that and wait for Vitor Pereira's feedback. Right. Thanks to everyone's company. I'll just put one more thing up. You're not blaming the people are saying it's not on the fans' fault. You're not blaming the fans for yesterday, Franz. I'll give you a chance to respond to a few people.
No, I'll never blame the fans. I just think I'd need a lift. I mean, it's like anything. Sometimes some players need an arm around the shoulder. So I'm saying the fans are fantastic. Listen, before the game, when it starts, it's unbelievable that sound. But I think this expectancy from the players are expecting them to win. Where I just think sometimes you need to a bit more vocal. So no, the fans have always been fantastic. I'd never blame the fans. I just think sometimes that we are expecting to win most games, and sometimes you need that vocal, chanting, just to help the fans even more because we want to win. As fans as much as the players. But if you're singing more with the players, it just gives them a bit of a lift, doesn't it?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Right. Lovely stuff. Thanks to Franz. Thanks for everyone's company. We'll be back tomorrow, as mentioned, and then we'll turn our attention to Midtjylland with a proper preview and post-match show. And then it's all eyes on Spurs after that. So that'll be terrifying / interesting. So join us for that. Hit like before you go, hit subscribe. And if we don't see you tomorrow, hopefully we shall see you soon.